Thanks a bunch for allowing me just a couple of minutes to address you. My name is Kevin Bass. I am Director of IT Sourcing at Axum. I've been there for 20 years, lifelong resident of Conway. I did promise to be brief, so that will I do. A week ago today, almost to the hour, I walked into the Central Station to get a burn permit, and I walked into the door of the fireman's quarters and came face to face with a moment. And everything in my day really faded away when I stood in front of this piece that's over here by the door. That is a piece of I-beam that came out of the World Trade Center on 9/11. And I would encourage all of you guys to come up and take a look at it. It really froze my day for a few moments. And to let you know the story, very short, but I began to make some inquiries, and along with the artifact, there's a conceptual drawing, and I began to ask the firefighters there the story, and there was an intent, or there at least is an intent, to move that from the inside quarters to either be a part of the existing memorial or to build its own memorial. And I asked how long they had the piece, about 4 years, and how far they had been on the project. Well, there is no funding, I was told, and the city will not fund it. And you know, I thought, the first thing that came to my head, because I really had some tears in my eyes, because that piece will bring up a lot of emotions. And I thought, you know, I'm good for $100 on that. How far along are you? We don't have any funding, was the answer. And so as I was getting to my car, I thought, you know, somebody should do something, because this piece doesn't belong in the firehouse where it can only be seen and remembered by just a handful of folks. So I walked back in, I took a picture, and I said to the gentleman there, I'll have a GoFundMe page by tonight. And so that's exactly what I did. It was 1 week ago tonight that it was launched. I'm very happy to say that today we've raised $2,000 to the project, and the intent is between $10,000 and $15,000 for the memorial. That's the good news. The difficult news is that $2,000, 86% of that is my family and friends. And that is great. I guess that's really good, but I'm hitting a ceiling because I'm driving them all nuts. Every day they get a note or a Facebook share or some update from Bass. I'm sure by now they're going, here he is again, giving us an update. I really have exhausted all of my friends and family, I think. I'm getting very close. And this is where it gets difficult for me, because now I'm at a position where I have to ask strangers to help. I don't like doing that. I really prefer to stay under the radar. But this is not going to get done unless I step out and be a little more bold. I really need some help to get this done. I can do it $5 at a time, and I'm willing to do that. But that would take about 6 months, I'm thinking. So the difficulty there is that in less than 9 months, we will see come to pass the 15th year anniversary of 9/11. And ideally, what we'd like to see happen is this memorial get dedicated on the 15th year anniversary. So I don't have 6 months to get this done. So that's why I'm here today. I need your help. I really need your help. Any of you that can give, I'd really encourage you to go and stand next to that piece, take a few thoughts, and give if you can. But just as importantly, I need your influence. I need your friends. I need your families. I need you guys to help me spread the word to get this done. Ultimately, whatever is raised will be donated directly to the Central Station. We will go to the chief, and they will reinstate. They've already had some meetings. There is a committee put together. The drawing that you see here of the memorial is conceptual. It could change, and it could change depending on how much money we can raise. But ultimately, that will be donated back, and the firefighters will decide when and how to use that funding in order to complete the memorial and get this piece outside. Anything that's left over will be donated right back to the fire department to use as they see fit. That's my story. Thank you for allowing me just a few minutes. In order to get to the GoFundMe page, over here on the table, I've got a flyer, and it's got the tear-offs on it. Or I'll take cash today and I'll plug you into the tool. That's not a problem. I also want to thank the Conway Fire Department, very graciously allowed us to take this piece from its home down here so that you guys could take a look at it. That's it. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you guys, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Kevin. We have a few club announcements. Miss Latricia has an announcement.
I just wanted to get up and thank everybody who came out for the Salvation Army's Bell Ringing. We had an abundance of people who start coming out, even though you didn't sign the list like I asked you to. You did come out and volunteer, and I appreciate that. I told people that the day after was my birthday, so I'd like to think that I did what I asked you to do, which was to come out and as a gift to me to come out and ring the bell. So I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. If you want to get a jump on my birthday present for next year, and just tell me, and I'll know not to ask you next year when my birthday comes up to do anything else for me, maybe. Just let me know that you did this. So for my birthday next year, if you want to get a jump on giving me a present, go ahead and donate money to the fund so that they can get this memorial. So do that for me and let me know that you did it. And maybe next year I won't, well, I can't promise you that.
So let me get this right. Is this more like a birthday season?
Well, you know, yeah, okay. I don't ask for much, just time. And, you know, the money doesn't really go to me. It's always to help someone else. So I think that's a great thing. But so thank you for coming out and ringing the bell and getting other people to do so and helping folks who are in this holiday season. And that's my heart for you. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Latricia. We also want to thank Rick and Lynn for opening their house to the Rotarians for their open house last Friday. Hope most of you had a chance to drop by there. It was a beautiful home. Thank you, Rick. Also, I want to thank everyone who purchased a wreath through our fundraiser. It was a wonderful success. It was a very short time, but it was a successful fundraiser, so we thank you. And I also wanted to thank again for all of you who came out and rang the bell for Salvation Army. And I think David has some good news for us here in just a little bit. And also, there will be no meeting the next 2 weeks, and we will meet again on January the 7th. At this time, I'd like for Brett Carroll to come up and talk to us a little bit about the foundation.
So you kind of set the standard for applause. As you know, most of you have gotten your Rotary Foundation forms. There's a lot going on this time of year, and this is one of the things that we do. And so if you've got that form, please turn that back into me or Jacqueline Kordsmeyer. We're encouraging everybody, if you can, to make it easier on our treasurer to go online and set up an account on the Rotary International website. There's instructions at the bottom of your form, so it's very, very straightforward, very simple. So if you have questions about that, please see me. Thank you very much.
Today's the one day of the year that we collect for to show our appreciation to the staff that serves us. They do a great job, and we want to give them a round of applause too. Please give generously. Got a few things, a few musings here I picked up. I changed my car horn to a gunshot sound. People move out of the way quicker now. I don't like making plans for the day because the word premeditated gets thrown around in the courtroom. I didn't make it to the gym today. That makes 5 years in a row. I decided to change calling the bathroom from the John to, and I renamed it to the gym. It's much better saying I went to the gym this morning. Last year I joined a support group for procrastinators. We haven't held a meeting yet. My people skills are just fine. It's my tolerance for idiots that needs working on. If God wanted me to touch my toes, he would have put them on my knees. My kids texted me PLZ, which is shorter than please. I text back NO, which is shorter than YES. And the last one, even duct tape can't fix stupid, but it can sure muffle the sound.
Somebody take a message. Want to introduce our speaker today, Major David Robinson. A little background on David. This is legit. I don't have to make any of this up. He was good in getting me this Bible. David grew up in Davenport, Oklahoma. He graduated high school in 1981. He worked a number of jobs. One is oil field during high school and after graduation. Went to college in Wilburton, Oklahoma for 1 year. And then also Fred Jones Ford Manufacturing for 8 years in Oklahoma City, and Quickset in Bristow, Oklahoma for 5 years, and worked for Schwann's for 1 year. 1996, he began working for the Salvation Army full-time in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. In 97, he moved to Atlanta, Georgia to attend college for officer training. In 99, he graduated college for officer training with an associate teacher diploma from Evangel Training Association, commissioned as a lieutenant. That's a long time. Assigned to Charlottesville, Virginia in June. In 2000, he moved to Port Arthur, Texas. Moved around a little bit to Pine Bluff, and finally in 2013 moved to Conway, Arkansas, and in 2014 was promoted to major. He served in disaster work for several years, served in New Orleans when Katrina hit, Houston when Rita and Ike hit, and many tornado and hurricanes. Served in Moore, Oklahoma a few years ago, and they're still in the recovery mode here in Faulkner County, serving Bologna and Mayflower communities. In December of '84, he married Joanna Robinson. They had the same last name. And together. Well, you're from the South, so. They will be celebrating their 31st anniversary on the 29th of this month. Let's give him a hand. And let's all give Joanna a hand. 86, his daughter Risa was born. In 90, Barry, his son, was born. In 2005, Risa graduated high school. In 2009, Barry graduated high school. Got a trend going here. June 10th, first grandchild was born, Layla. And 2014, he says we celebrated 30 years of marriage last year, which makes sense because this year is there, whatever. 2015, April 29th, new grandson was born. His name is indeed Major David Robinson. That is his name. We love spending time, this is him speaking now, I'm quoting, we love spending time with our grandchildren, Layla and Major, playing golf, beach vacation, spending time with family and friends. We love talking about what the Lord has done for us and letting people know what God can do for them. We love telling the story of the Salvation Army, and that's what we're going to do right now. Major David Robinson.
31 years, it don't seem possible. It's the last family reunion I went to. Thank you for ringing the bells last Friday. It was great to see many of you out there. Y'all exceeded our expectations for the day. We did $800 in both the kettles at Kroger's. It was like $7.99.60 something, but I rounded it up there. So thank you so much, and Thank you for the students from St. Joseph going out and giving of their time. They get volunteered to do a little bit more stuff because their grandparents see them out there and stuff, so they get to load groceries and do all kinds of stuff. One lady saw somebody loading groceries, and she pulled her car up there, and that was my grandmother. I don't know you. So they put money in the kettle, so they loaded her groceries. So it all worked out. But thank you, Camden, for ringing the bell, you and your mom coming out, and everyone. It's great to see everyone out and ringing the bell. Well, today we're going to talk about the Salvation Army. And I was telling Mike that it'd be easier if I just had everybody, if you had a question, raise your hand, because I don't want to stand up here and talk about stuff that you either know or you don't really care about. But the Salvation Army, I grew up in a Baptist church in a little town in Davenport, Oklahoma. It's one thing I love about the Salvation Army is a lot of the officers, we all have different backgrounds. So every Salvation Army you go to has a little bit different flavor to it. Baptist, Methodist, we're a mixed breed, and we all come from different backgrounds and different things. And so every Salvation Army is a little bit different, but our mission remains the same. And the Salvation Army mission statement: the Salvation Army, an international movement of the I can't even say the word now. I've been practicing that. Evangelical. Yes, that word. There you go. Part of the United Christian Church. Its message is based on the Bible. Its ministry is motivated by the love of God. Its mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and meet human needs in His name without discrimination. And every day at our office, in Salvation Armies near and far, there are people coming in needing help for whatever reason, whatever life has thrown their way, and we are there to try to help. And I know there are many other churches and many other organizations out there doing the exact same thing, because we're in communications with other groups and other social workers, talking together how best to resolve a situation. We often pull our funds. Somebody will pay half of something, we'll pay the other half. So we try to keep as many people's lights on as we can and keep as many people in their homes as we can throughout the year. The Salvation Army was founded by William Booth. And when I told my parents that I was called into ministry and I was going to be an officer in the Salvation Army, they thought I was going off and joining a cult. And they'd never heard of that, which where we grew up, you never heard of that. And my wife grew up in the Salvation Army. Her grandmother was a 50-year soldier in the Salvation Army, which means she was a member of the church. I posted on Facebook, if you saw my post of a kettle house, that the lady was ringing a bell and was in a little house down on the square. And my wife remembers sitting in one of those kettle houses at Christmas time with her grandmother, listening to records. They had a record player in there playing Christmas music. And she got to change the record player. She was just thrilled to death with doing that. But William Booth started his mission on the east side of London. He was a Methodist preacher. He had a calling to help those that couldn't help themselves. And in his travels and in his many churches that he preached in, he was a circuit preacher. He went through the east end of London and he saw all the women and children on the streets. And all the gin shops opened up and down the strip where all the men were going in and coming out. And he was a very vocal person, and he stepped up on the street corner and he started to preach. And he started to try to give hope to those who needed hope. And they started throwing rotten food and rocks and different things at him and said, we don't, you're trying to feed us spiritually, we're hungry physically. And so he got together with some of his acquaintances, and they opened up the East Side Mission, a soup kitchen. And they started feeding the women and children and the men as they came in. And That's how the Salvation Army started. And in one year, when he was going over the year-end statement or the year-end totals, it said the East End Mission Army, and he scratched all that out and put the Salvation Army. Just thought, no, I'm gonna change that. That doesn't sound right. So he took the East End off and just put Salvation down and made it Salvation Army. And they already called him General because he was the person that was running the thing, that was over it. They all called him the General because he loved to tell people what to do. And his son, his name was written there in the column as a volunteer, and his son noticed he was written down as a volunteer. And he said, I'm not a volunteer, and he scratched it out and he put a regular. So they stood there and kind of laughed about it, but started talking about the soldiery and the officers and the ranks, and they were joking around about it, but in that joking around, they really set the standard of what the Salvation Army has turned out to be. When I got the rank of major, it didn't mean anything but like a $9 raise every month, and all that's significant, my wife and I, we just joked and said, well, that just means we're getting old, because you have to be in the Army for 20 years to hit the rank of major. And so it was like, wow, we're getting up there. We have no more excuses now. When you're a lieutenant, you can get by with stuff. And when you're commissioned as a lieutenant. And for 5 years, you're a lieutenant. And at the end of 5 years, you go before a review board. And it's relatively simple. As long as you've done what you're supposed to do, you become a captain, and you're a captain for the next 15 years. But we were promoted in 3 years. Nothing we did special. It's just the new general decided to do away with all lieutenants. And so we got promoted early. So we became majors a little bit early. So there are people younger than me that's been majors longer than me. But it's just, it's all based on years of service. But that's, the Salvation Army came to the United States. I know I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm looking at this page, I'm looking at that page. I need to quit looking down. The Salvation Army came to the United States in 1892 and opened up work in New York City. One officer came with 7 ladies, 7 lassies, and they started work in the projects in New York, in the suburbs, and in the places that a lot of people didn't want to go. And they started to work there, and the Army has just grown and grown. So basically, we're missionaries. Our home is in London, and this last year they had the World Congress in London. I wanted to go, but you got to have money to go and do such things like that. And we didn't have that in our budget, so we didn't go. But a lot of the people that went, I saw pictures of William Booth, the statues of William Booth. I got to see pictures of where William Booth is buried. William Booth passed away in 1920. He had eye surgery and died of a blood poisoning in 1920. And there was over 34,000 people that attended his funeral. Leaders from all around the world came and attended and spoke at his funeral. I wanted to bring the video that the Army puts out, of the black and white video that shows the streets being full as William Booth was brought down the street, and people that followed him. But I'm not technical. Mr. Steve Jessen gave me a PowerPoint. He says, use this. Well, he's a little smarter than I am. And I did say that out loud in public, and I'm being taped. So, what a tremendous turnout for a man who gave everything he had for what he believed in, and gave us the roots that we started from. The Salvation Army in Conway started about almost 23 years ago. Started as just an outpost and grew into a corps. As soon as a corps has an outpost has 5 members, it can become a corps, become a church. And so the Salvation Army became a church. And I'm hoping I'm here for the 25th anniversary so we can kind of do something special. But we just celebrated, the Salvation Army just celebrated this year the 150th anniversary of the Salvation Army beginning. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the future. We're excited about the future here in Conway of the Salvation Army. But started 25 years ago, and we're still trying to get the word out. One of the things that when I came here, one of the things that stood out to me was a lot of people did not know what the Salvation Army did. We are a church. We have regular church services. We have members of our church that are called soldiers. I have red, they have blue on their uniforms. They don't wear their uniforms every day. They go to work just like you do and work in all different realms of life, but they wear their uniforms usually on Sunday. And anytime we're doing anything as a church out in public, they wear their uniforms. But me, I get to wear mine every day. It sure saves on trying to decide what to wear every day. And, it saves on my wife arguing and griping about different things, but makes life a lot simpler. It's Christmas time, so if you see me out in public, I'm probably wearing a gray shirt, a gray Salvation Army shirt, and then wearing my black Salvation Army hat, which is probably not legal, but I don't care because I'm wearing it. But we kind of get to do our own thing around Christmas time because we don't ever know what we're doing. I'm leaving here and I get to go load a truck with rags, drive the forklift. So I hope I don't mess up my white shirt, but I probably will. But the Salvation Army, like I said, started 20 years ago. Now we have our church over on Carson Cove, right behind Taco Bell, off Prince Street. It's in a shopping center. It's not the best place for a church, but that's where it's been for about 15 years, I think, now. Our offices are on Harkrider. I know Google probably wouldn't tell you that. We're trying to get all that changed. If you Google the Salvation Army, it's going to send you to Carson Cove. But we're on Harkrider. Our offices are on Harkrider, right beside the thrift store. And you can see that there's Salvation Army marquee everywhere. This Christmas, during Christmas time, the Red Kettles is our only time you see us out in public doing any type of fundraising. And we are not allowed to ask for anything. We just ring the bell and people know what the kettle's for, and they make their donations based on what they feel like to give. Also, you probably get letters in the mail from me asking for income. The Salvation Army is in Conway is 100%. We run off donations. We do not get grants. Nobody from Salvation Army above sends money down to us on a regular basis. We have to raise our own funds, and we budget accordingly to that. And so I know that's been a question in the past, is, well, how do you get funded? We are funded by people like you in the community. How do we get to do the things we do? By the more money we raise, the more things we're able to do. Last year, we were able to increase our social services by over $80,000 because of donations that had came in, plus sales of the thrift store. Everything that's sold at the thrift store at the end of the month when all the bills are paid, any income left over at the thrift store is moved over to the core account, and we're able to use it for core programs and social services and things that are needed. So it's very important that the thrift store continues to do well. That's a source of income for us. I know many of you have brought donations by, and you see all that stuff in the back, and you're like, "Do you really need my clothes?" Yes. Because what we don't sell, we sell somewhere else. We recycle and sell everything that doesn't sell out the front door, we sell it somewhere else. So we make very few things that we throw away. Everything is recycled. Everything, cardboard, clothing, shoes, toys, purses, belts, hats, anything like that is rebagged and recycled and sold to a different company. And they take it and they either shred it and make new things out of it, or they ship it overseas and sell it somewhere else. And it's used somewhere else. I know I was watching one of the news channels one night, and they were showing someplace overseas, and there was somebody wearing a Salvation Army shirt, and somebody was like, well, Salvation Army doesn't have any churches there. Well, they probably got it through one of those rag companies that sell things, and so you just see different things over there. But that's some of the things that we do. One of the big things we do in town is if you ever come to our office and you meet with Miss Debbie, our social worker, she has a heart for people. She wants to help people. But our food pantry, you've heard me talk about the food pantry before. And I asked her to print me off some numbers. And so she printed me some numbers from January 2nd through the end of November. And we've handed out 4,223 food boxes this year through the end of November. She says she put down a note here. She's already did 243 boxes this month. And she just posted on the board on the front door before I left that the food pantry was closed because we had no more food. So we probably will not do any food boxes until after distribution on Saturday for the Angel Tree. So we've served 53,806 people through the feeding program. That's the number of people in each household that has come and got food boxes. So it works out to 384 boxes a month, or 96 boxes a week that she hands out to the people that come and get food each and every day. So it's a big project. This year, usually, our pantry is full because of schools and different organizations bring truckloads of food. And this year, we didn't have anybody bring us food. And we got, kettles start, Angel Tree starts, and Miss Debbie gets busy. When we sit down and have a quick meeting, it kind of slaps me in the face when she says, I'm out of food. How can you be out of food? What happened? Where are we at? What's going on? And we start looking, and we realize this Monday that we had not got any food drive food this year at all, this Christmas, which was kind of a shock. We do get some food in on a regular basis, but this year, we were just looking and talking about it. It was just kind of a surprise, and maybe it's just one of those years. But that was kind of a surprise to us. So those are some of the important things. Like I said, she's been really busy, especially this month, with a lot of last-minute needs and concerns. With rent and utilities, she came and asked me yesterday. She said, I spent $3,600 this month on rent and utilities. Do you want me to keep going? And I said, you can keep going if it's a really have to, there's a dire emergency. If somebody, calls and says, I have a family who needs this, then yes, we're going to help. But we have, I think we recorded it one week. We received a little over 1,500 phone calls, and the first words out of their mouth is, do you have any funds? And a lot of those times when they call, we tell them we have no funds because we have so many people walking in our door. By the time we say, yes, we have funds, and by the time they get there, we may not have it. And so we try to explain that to them, that if they need help, they need to come see us. Because if we have it, we will help. And we have to set a budget each month of how much we can help. I handed out this little book that's on the table. I don't know if I have enough for everyone, but the book that you can look at. And it kind of gives a lot of different aspects of the Salvation Army. It tells the beginnings and how we're separated. It talks about the different territories. But it also talks about several programs. It talks about the adult rehabilitation. It talks about the youth programs. It talks all kinds of different programs the Salvation Army has. Some of those programs we don't have in Conway. We don't have a shelter in Conway. We don't have a feeding program where we feed hot meals. We don't have the facility for that. We don't have the budget for that. It's not something that I would rule out and say we would never have. I hope to have one day that we can help those in need in our community in any which way the need comes. But right now, with the way it's set up and the way that we're running, we're limited to our basic social services and our clothing. People come and get a clothing voucher and able to go get 5 or 6 sets of clothes, a pair of shoes, a coat, belt, things like that they need. We have furniture that people can come and buy at a lot cheaper rate than buying it somewhere else. We have several people that come and say, I just moved to town, can you give me some furniture? We try to avoid that because everybody will be coming to Conway and wanting us to give them furniture. And our furniture is very limited. Our truck runs all the time doing pickups, but it's still, as soon as it comes in, it goes right back out the door a lot of times. So we have a few minutes for any questions. Yes, ma'am.
So what do you need right now? How can we as a club, we have the Rotary Disaster Recovery Committee, and this is exactly what we're designed to do. So do you need food dropped off at the Harper location for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
holidays? You need to feed families right now.
Our food boxes for our angel tree, that's all taken care of. It's just the emergency walk-in off the street food boxes. Just your regular staple, corn, vegetables, rice, beans, canned meat, stuff like that.
So the instructions would be that we can drop these items off anytime between what hours?
Between 8 and 12 and 1 and 4, Monday through Thursday, and 8 to 12 on Friday. But you can also drop it at the thrift store. They'll take it at the thrift store. They're open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday. So we're all right there together. So they know where to take it. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I just have a comment. When I was stationed in Florida, I went to the First Baptist Church in Satellite Beach, and the pastor was a tall, nice-looking man named Larry Booth. He was the grandson of General Booth. Quite a coincidence.
All right, take a free pen if there's any left. Also, the other big book that's got a lot of pictures in it that Joe was looking at earlier, that's the book about Katrina of the Salvation Army there. I had some videos and stuff that if I'd have known what to do with them, we probably showed the 10-year reunion of, I think it was 10 years, of Katrina and all the stuff the Army did there. But thank you for your support. Keep supporting, keep ringing those bells. And our kettle effort, we're about $3,000 behind where we were last year at this time. And we got 6 more days counting today to ring the bell. We want to hit 115,000. That's what we budgeted for kettles this year. So keep ringing those bells and keep putting something in those buckets. Put change in to get change out in the kettles. Thank you very much.
David, on behalf of the Rotary there any announcements from the floor before we? I want to thank Joan and Michael and Matthew for being here, and Camden for being here, and Steve, I didn't get your father-in-law's name, but thank you for being here, and Kevin and Tim, thank you both for being here. I appreciate that. We will not meet next Thursday or the Thursday of New Year's Eve, so we will be back on January the 7th. And with no other further announcements, we will adjourn with the four-way test.